North Coast football. Hello, everybody. It's me again, John Clark, and I'm here to recap Week 1 of the North Coast Football League. So let's take a look at the league standings as of right now. Now, it's no surprise to me about what happened this week. There were some surprises, but in terms of my team, there were no surprises. For right now, Fort Castleton stands at the very top. I'm number 1 right now, baby. Number 1. Not only did I win my week, but I also scored the most points. Nothing's going to change. I know from here on out, that means I've won the league, right? Nothing's going to change. So, if we go down the line here, I've got here Fort Castleton. Number 1 spot here. Nero's Fiddle. Number 2. Bones Bombers. Number 3. Now, am I shocked that the top 3 teams are all owned by gentlemen named John? Some might say conspiracy. I say destiny. Now, we're going to get into each matchup. I'm going to go and review each matchup. Talk about the players that did awesome. Talk about the players that suck balls. Okay? So, join me, and we'll go through this, won't we? Here we go. We're going to start out looking at the team that actually had a bye week this week. All right? So, the Wadsworth football team, owned by Dan. He was going to get an easy week anyway, but I want to take a look at the players and how they did, especially after week 1, because a lot of things changed. We had no preseason this year, so you got to finally take a look at the players, how well some of them did. Did some disappoint? Did some do exactly what you expected them to do? Let's go through it, okay? So, first off, we're going to start. His total points here. 131. In our league scoring, it's a half-point PPR. That is pretty darn good. Okay? This week, the average was 106 points. All right? So, when everything's said and done, if you're just over 100 points, chances are you had a pretty decent week. So, 131, that says quite a bit about how your week went. Not the highest scoring. We already know who got that. Not the highest scoring team, but definitely up there. So let's start off. So the people that he played here, we've got Aaron Rodgers. Boy, did he have a week. Did he have a week? And I don't think it's sustainable. All you people out there who got Aaron Rodgers, this was the perfect storm of amazingness for him, okay? So 33.76 points for Mr. Aaron Rodgers. That's crazy. That is insane. You know, if you're looking at a really good quarterback, 20 points, and you're happy, right? That's going to be, hey, pretty much he's a QB1 that week. So 33 points is very impressive. Now, I talked about this in our draft recap video, but his 2 starting running backs are beasts. And both of them this week, woo! Easy. Both of them fell into RB1. So when you have 2 RB1s on your team, look, that's a big reason why he got the 131. All right, it's not on the back of just his QB, because I don't think anybody saw Aaron Rodgers getting 33 points. But Dalvin Cook 21, Josh Jacobs 33. If I remember right, and I always do, Josh Jacobs was the RB1. On the league this week. So, 55, if you count the decimals, 55 points total just from his 2 RBs. That's crazy good. Crazy good. And honestly, there's no reason not to expect that going forward. Will Josh Jacobs always get 33? No. Will Dalvin Cook always get 20? Hey, they're both right about there, right? Very safe floors. Both of them could have very good weeks. To expect 50 points plus from the pair of them is not out of the realm of possibilities here. So, that 1, 2, 3, crazy. There's most of your points right there, right? The 80, 84, 85 of your points. Whew. DK Metcalf, and I watched that game. It should have been more. It should have been more. Now, 17.5, no one's complaining. But he had one ball right in his hands, and he just straight dropped it. And he was wide. I mean, ridiculous. So 17.5 points from his wide receiver one. Jerry Jeudy, wild card. No one knew what he was going to look like. We haven't seen him in preseason. Preseason camp. No, who cares what anybody says during preseason camp? But Jerry Jeudy, 7.6. All right, okay. Could have done a little bit better there, but and we knew that Gronk was iffy. He showed that 2.1. That might be something that a position that Dan might want to address in the waiver wires this week. Philip Lindsay, 4 points. Now, he did get injured. So I don't think he'll be staying in your lineup. Now, in terms of who you've got on your bench right now, we've got Mr. Kerryon Johnson. And I don't want to say he's droppable, but that was pretty awful. Madison, obviously you're gonna hold, keep that handcuff. Will Fuller, hey, as long as he's healthy, he looked great. I know health is a concern for him. He looked great. He might be making his way up into your wide receiver positions there. Of course, Galladay was out. Sterling Shepard, the Giants. It looks like look, Mr. Jones, their QB, was not good. However, the wide receivers there, Saquon couldn't run for anything. So their wide receivers, they might be getting some work. And who knows which week is going to be which receiver. Who knows? So Shepard might have a week or two. I definitely wouldn't depend on him for anything at this point. But maybe a wait and see. And then all the way at the bottom there, he had Mr. Blake Jarwin, who he's done. He's out. So tight end position, Dan, might want to address that on the waivers. But great week. Obviously, you get the bye week. So you're good, and that point total for this week is fantastic. Keep it up, man. Next up, we've got the hopeful yokel versus wet ass Pips. So we've got Scott and Josh here for the first actual matchup of the North Coast Football League. Here we go. So this one, this was a squeaker. This one, look, if there's an award for a heartbreak kind of result, this is it. Because, not only because it's so close, but because there was one factor that made all the difference in the world. Now, I don't normally go over defenses or kickers. I don't normally go over them. But the hopeful yokel, Scott, had the only defense to get -4 points this week. That's the lowest in our scoring format. That's the lowest it could possibly have. That means they got scored on more than 35 points against, and then they didn't do anything else. There were no sacks. There were no interceptions, no fumble recoveries, definitely no scores. So that was the difference. Literally, that was it. He could have taken them out. Now, Scott, don't get heartbroken, buddy. Don't get heartbroken. You had some bad luck. Maybe karma will figure it out later on. But let's go through it here real quick. Let's look at these things. So let's start with Scott's team, okay? As heartbreaking as it might have been this week. Because this one was neck and neck pretty much the whole time. That Drew Brees-Kamara connection, hey, that paid off pretty well. Obviously, you're going to want a little bit more from Drew Brees. But 14.4, okay, all right. Kamara, there you go. There's your 21. New Orleans is going to be offensive. Not like offensive, they're going to play a lot of good offense and score some points, right? So, that paid off for you. That paid off for you. Certainly could have been a little bit higher on the QB end of things, but that was pretty good. Nick Chubb, I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry. The Browns this week just look. You guys watch the game. They Brownsed it up. Jamison Crowder. Oh, I mean, that was a shock. That was a shock. He had a week. I'm not saying maybe try to trade high on him, but man, oh man, there you go. Jamison Crowder, good on you, man. 24 points. Tyreek Hill, there you go. He's going to be boom bust, and that was a solid 13 points. Solid 13 right there. Noah Fant. I didn't believe the hype in the preseason. He was being talked up. I didn't believe it. 16.6 for your tight end. Man, let's see if he can keep that up. Fingers crossed, but that is remarkable. Marquise Brown, look, you've got a piece of that Baltimore wide receiving core. Good on you. Of course, he performed. Granted, it was against the Browns, and I know, it hurts your heart, but there you go. On your bench here, hey, nothing too disappointing. I know the 4-point spread. I don't think it was your bench decisions. It came down to the defense, obviously. But Chase Edmonds, he's looking, even with, a running QB there, he's looking like he could be a solid flex bye-week replacement guy. We'll see how he does. But, the Jacksonville, that's a rough one, even though, hey, I mean, they surprised a lot of people. But Chris Thompson, I don't know how he's gonna. I don't know if he's even worth keeping. Then you've got your Justin Jefferson, Jarvis Landry, Chris Herndon. Landry. There's talk about Odell not being happy. Surprise. So we'll see what happens. But Jarvis, he's a good one to pop into that flex every now and then, depending on the matchups. I know he's got a Thursday night game this week, so that'll be definitely your call. On over to Josh's team, the wet ass Pips here. Cam had a game, didn't he? Oh, Cam was looking like the Cam of old a little bit. Not old Cam, the Cam of old. 25 points. Game 1, lots of questions. Boom, there you go. Of course, your Christian McCaffrey, if he's sub 20 points, you're not happy, right? Melvin Gordon pulling out 14. Mike Evans, I was really worried there, man. Mike Evans, I thought he was going to goose egg you there, but he came in, he got his touchdown, he got out. I mean, what else? There you go. Considering most people thought he was out, 6.7. Hey, sit on him for a bit. Hopefully he can get better. Amari Cooper, 13. There you go. That's 10 points is about his floor, so definitely didn't boom for you, but 13 points. Higbee, tight end. What else do you want me to say? Tight end, 5.5. Okay. And T.Y. Hilton, a lot of people are saying that's concerning, and I'm inclined to agree with them. I didn't expect that to be that low. So, we'll see going forward what that's going to look like there in Indianapolis. But on your bench here, let's touch on some stuff. So, Phillip Rivers, again, I'm not a big fan of rostering 2 QBs, but Phillip Rivers, A.J. Dillon, Justin Jackson, I'm not going to talk about them. Robbie Anderson, though. Let's talk about Robbie Anderson. There didn't seem to be a whole lot of weapons in Carolina, but boy did Robbie Anderson. He was a question mark. I think he answered your question. Don't expect 25.5 every week, but I think based on that performance, I think he deserves a spot in your roster, on your lineup there. And if your wide receivers, maybe definitely until Mike Evans gets 100%, but man, if you had Evans, Cooper, and Robbie all healthy, that could be nasty. And Sammy Watkins, he's always, you never know when he's going to, it's a Sammy Watkins game. You never know when he's going to hit. 18 points. Good luck guessing when he's going to get another 18 points. I'm just saying. But, all right. So that was the hopeful yokel and wet ass pips there. The W going to Josh and the wet ass pips. Congratulations. The next matchup we've got here, this is the one I could talk about for hours, but I'm not going to do that to you guys. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that to you guys. My team, for Castleton, King of the Hill right now, baby. King of the Hill. Versus Banana Slugs, Jeff's team. Now look, two major takeaways you can take away from this matchup. Number one, those pre-game projections are awful on NFL.com. Okay? They don't mean crap. The other takeaway is, boy, when a team booms, it can really boom. But sometimes, even with studs, it can be a tale of tragedy. And that's what we've got here. So let's start with the boom team. For Castleton, my team, 146.1. Don't you take that 0.1 away from me, guys. I need it. So obviously, Kyler Murray, I believe he was the number 5 QB, maybe number 6 QB on the weekend. What can you say about that guy? Especially against the 49ers. Excellent, 26. Now, I will say, I picked him up because he's a running QB, and I wanted them running points. And he got 9 of them. 9 points just from running. That's a pretty big chunk of 26. So, Kyler, keep it up, buddy. Keep it up, please. My 2 running backs, Aaron Jones and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. What am I going to say bad about these guys? Aaron Jones did Aaron Jones things, found the end zone like Aaron Jones does. A lot of people said that's where he's going to regress. God, I hope not. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kansas City's got a run game now, guys. Look out, man. If he can stay healthy, I might have hit the jackpot with him. We'll see. Fingers are crossed. Wide receivers, Robert Woods. He's my safety guy. And this week was his week. He got a majority of the points there on their wide receivers for LA. Devontae Adams. How can you complain for having the number 1 player on the week? You can't complain about that. 37 points. That's ridiculous. Again, I don't expect this every week. It would be nice. But it gives me good, warm feelings inside to know that he did his thing with Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Now, of course, moving on, tight end. I was hoping that Hayden Hurst was going to fill that Austin Hooper role in Atlanta, and boy, he did not. It seemed like everybody else, all the other receivers there in Atlanta, they were getting fed, but not Hayden Hurst. That would be asking too much. And then Terry McLaurin. Hey, I expect better from him. I do. I expect better from him. Hey, there was no preseason. That's what I'm going to blame that on, right? That's what it was. That's all it was. Onto the bench. I don't really have anybody to speak of on the bench. Deshaun Jackson did not boom against Washington like he normally does. Thank goodness. It did kind of highlight that I was thinking about Marvin Jones in my flex, and I went with Terry McLaurin, and I made the right move there. It was only 1.1 points difference, but that was the right move. Okay. Enough about my team. Let's go on to the other story we've got here. The other storyline, the story of tragedy. Jeff, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I went in. You look at the draft recap. I said this is a scary team, and it is. It is a scary team to go up against. And just the way things unfolded wasn't. I don't think what anybody expected. First of all, you had Gardner Minshew go off. I mean, not like off, but more than everyone expected. He pulled out the W. I thought Jacksonville was tanking this year. Maybe not. Gardner's got something to say about that attitude. Duke Johnson went out with an injury. Oh, I'm sorry, man. That's rough. That's rough. I will say I kept seeing D. Johnson on the back of the jersey of the running back every time because of David Johnson. David and Duke Johnson, that's not fair. You can't expect this guy to memorize numbers on jerseys. So until Duke Johnson was out, I kept thinking he was getting all the running. But here, let's talk about the Saquon Barkley, Michael Thomas disappointment. Major disappointments in both. Michael Thomas coming out and saying he's playing through a high ankle sprain. You couldn't have told us that a week ago? Maybe it didn't happen a week ago. It certainly didn't happen during the game. Anyway. And Saquon Barkley, man, his offensive line, they couldn't open anything up for him at all. We know he can run. But his team was not doing him any favors at all. So Saquon, Michael Thomas, obviously you're not going to try to trade him right now. It's trading low. You don't trade low. You got to hold on to him. Ride your studs, man. Ride your studs. But it sucks when they have a week like this. Let's see. Christian Kirk, you can drop him. Honestly, you can drop him. He is definitely the very low third receiver on the team. Fitzgerald's still getting work. And then, of course, Hopkins over there. So here's your other bright spot besides Gardner Minshew. Mark Andrews. He did what he was supposed to do. Tight end number 2 on the day. He did what he was supposed to do. I hated watching what he was doing. And I know it sucks that he was also doing it against the Browns. For all you Ohio guys out there. I'm not going to lie, I thought that was kind of funny. But I didn't like what he was doing against my fantasy team. So in that regards, everyone was pissed off at Mark Andrews this week. Jeff maybe a little bit less. But there you go. Look, you got a bright spot there. Sony Michel, okay, yeah. 9.7. That can be expected. You've definitely got some options for your flex plays every week. And obviously with Duke being out, your running back situation could be worse. If your studs can hit and maybe you slide Jerick McKinnon up there. And he looked pretty good. Again, I know the San Francisco running back situation isn't as solid. You don't really know. It's very much like the New England running back situation. So, maybe you slide them up in there and they hit. But that's really about it. Kirk Cousins, I know he's kind of a security blanket. Hold on to him because Gardner might be a one-off. We'll see. Anyways, Jeff, thank you for not making me look really, really bad with your Michael Thomas, Saquon Barkley. I appreciate it. I'll try to return the favor somehow. Okay. Here we are on to the next matchup here. Ugly Laughter against Marsala Maulers. And I'm not laughing at the teams. I'm laughing because this is funny. This is a funny matchup. So we've got last year's league winner, Kurt, with the Ugly Laughter, the 57.7. And then we've got the Marsala Maulers, we don't know if he exists, Vince, with 77.4. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. We did have 2 teams this week who both outscored this entire matchup. Okay? And that would be my team, Fort Castleton, and John's team, Nero's Fiddle. So, and I think Bones Bombers was point something away from. Anyways, hey, we're not here to laugh at. We're here to find the silver lining here. Okay, let's see what good we can scrape out of this matchup here. Okay, guys, let's go for it. So let's start with Ugly Laughter. Kurt, I tried to warn you with Carson Wentz. I tried to warn you at the draft recap one. He's not good. He's good, but he's not good. He's not good. And I will say the Washington football team hit him real hard a few times. So we'll see if he can do anything this next week. If you keep him in your lineup, okay? I know you got Brady on standby, so we'll see about that. Joe Mixon, what can you say about Joe Mixon? I'm sorry. He did not live up to his floor. You did not draft him for 5.6 points a week. So maybe they got to work some things out in Cincy. We'll see. Austin Eckler. There you go. Austin Eckler, 9.2. I don't think you drafted him for 9.2 points, man. Odell Beckham. Look, it's easy. It's easy to dump on the Browns. I know. You guys know. But Odell Beckham Jr. with 3.7 points. And now there's talks that they might trade him. Just whispers. But you never know. Odell Beckham, he ain't happy anywhere he is. He's never happy. He wasn't in New York. I used to make fun of him constantly when he was in New York. Anyways, I'm sorry. He didn't deliver. Michael Gallup, he'll have his weeks. Dallas underperformed, I think, overall, but Michael Gallup seemed to suffer for that one. And then Eric Ebron. Yeah, you got a lot of hope, a lot of high hopes on this team, and none of them seem to pan out. I mean, not even mediocre. This is just awful. Hence, I mean, obviously with the score. Boston Scott. Man. Okay. So now we're looking, you got Tom Brady. 2 interceptions, one of them a pick 6. Your bright spot, though, James Robinson. Believe it or not, after 9.5, he did have 16 carries. That's a lot. If he can get his yardage up and then maybe get into the end zone, you might have something there. But Dallas Goedert, that's your other shining spot right there. And I hate to say it, but Ertz, did he get hurt officially? I know he didn't do well, and he was holding his chest. So Dallas Goedert, he got the points there. That's an easy swap into your tight ends position there. And you're still rostering 2 defenses. I don't know why. You might have your reasons, but you could definitely use that bench spot to maybe pick up something else. Kurt, spend some fab this week, man. Spend some fab. On to Vince's team, Marsala Maulers. Again, pretty low scoring in our scoring format. It was good enough to win. There might have only been a handful of other teams that you would have won against, if that. So, Dak Prescott, 17. That's a disappointment. He's been hyped up quite a bit. 17.6 points. That ain't gonna do it. Lev Bell. Oof. Man. Sorry. Ronald Jones. Tampa Bay backfield. Ronald Jones. He did Ronald Jones things. Here's your bright spot. At least your bright spot was in your lineup. That's what made the difference. Especially after your kicker and defense. Okay, I'm not even touching on them, but after those guys, DeAndre Hopkins, he seems to be legit in Arizona. Cooper Kupp, hey, this week it was Woods week. Robert Woods got it. Next week it could be Cooper Kupp. That's the kind of, you're rolling the dice. Now some weeks they both hit. But that's the gamble you take with the LA receivers. They can both hit, but sometimes it's only one. So this week was not Kupp's week. Evan Ingram, DJ Chark, there you go. DJ Chark, 10 points. That's what you want out of your flex, 10 plus. Maybe the guy booms, but again, on a surprising, we don't know if they're tanking Jacksonville team. So on your bench here, Matt Stafford. Obviously, you're not gonna get rid of Dak. You got to ride Dak. Maybe that roster spot could be spent on somebody else. Maybe try to use him to make a trade. Find someone who needs a QB. They had a disappointing QB. Maybe package him up with, I don't know. And there's really nobody else worth talking about. I want to talk about Gibson. I do. I want to talk about him. He still could be the guy. You're going to have to wait and see. I don't think he's going to make it in your lineup anytime soon. So, not a lot to say on this matchup, guys. Not a lot to say. Both teams make some moves. Make some moves. There you go. That's my advice. All right, moving forward. Woo, have we got a game for you here. This was Black Swan Event versus Bones Bombers. Ryan versus John the Senior. Here we go, guys. Now, this was the exact opposite of the previous game I was talking about. This one had loads of excitement, a lot of back and forth, neck to neck, came down to the very last game on Monday night. Man, this was something to behold here. So, let's start off. Obviously, John pulled it off. In the end, Derrick Henry on that Monday night, he came through for him. And anyway, hey, let's go through the match here. So on Ryan's team, the Black Swan Event, Russell Wilson, holy cow, Russell Wilson. No one saw this coming. I mean, they talked him up in the offseason, but man, I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm not, that this was the best performance fantasy-wise that the man has ever had. 34 points. Holy cow. Then David Johnson. Man, did he look like David Johnson of old? I mean, gosh. Where was he last year? The year before? I know injuries. I know, I get it. But now that Duke Johnson, unfortunately, David Johnson is it. Man, he could get some work. James Conner, look, the injury, he's been an injury risk. I had high hopes for him this season. I'm not saying he's out. He's not done. But, when he went out, Benny Snell took over. Benny looked pretty good. Guess who's on our waiver wire? Spend some fab, man. Spend some fab. Here we go. Calvin Ridley, the story of Atlanta wide receivers, man. He 32 points. Atlanta wide receivers, they cleaned up this week. They cleaned up. Couldn't have been the tight end. No. But Calvin Ridley, 32 points. Very nice. Hunter Renfrow. Maybe he'll see more use, but definitely not droppable. You don't want to drop him yet. Wait and see. Wait and see. Jared Cook, hey, for a tight end, 10 points, 10.5 points, okay. Yeah, take it. Take it every week. Jonathan Taylor, well, now that, again, I'm sorry, Marlon Mack, I'm sorry. Now that he went down, Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines, that's it. And so, with Nyheim Hines on our waiver, hey, you've got what could be a pretty legit running back there for fantasy. I mean, people were talking him up before the season, but now that it's only 2 instead of 3, man, he could really be something for you. So overall, I think, even with the Connor injury and that whole question mark the whole season, people are saying, hey, pick up Benny Snell. Yes, yeah, whoever gets Snell, but they're always going to have that, hey, is it going to be Connor back in? Is he not going to be in? That headache. So if that's worth it, pick him up. But you got something in Jonathan Taylor right there. Going forward, I think that's going to be pretty good. On your bench, Baker Mayfield. I don't know what your motivations were for picking him up. Jordan Howard. He did not look good. He did not look good at all. Not at all. Emmanuel Sanders, he might benefit from Michael Thomas with a lingering injury. We'll see. I mean, 9 points, that's nothing to write home about, but he might benefit from that, especially now that it's out in the open and people know that Michael Thomas isn't 100%. This Laviska guy, I mean, 12 points. Okay. I know he's a rookie in a tanking Jacksonville team. He might be worth a fun little stash or even a flex play every now and then. Juju, honestly, after that week, I think he's making his way into your lineup if he's not there already. I screenshotted these yesterday. So, yeah, Juju better be in your lineup. I'm not going to talk about Eifert. Okay, here we go. The eventual winner of this matchup, Bones Bombers. Here we go. This, I mean, like I said, this was neck and neck. This was an exciting one to watch. I'm glad I wasn't a part of it. It would have driven me nuts. I would have had an aneurysm. Lamar Jackson doing Lamar Jackson things. 27. Oof. There you go. Again, sorry it was against your Browns, but it's got to be against them at some point. Derrick Henry pulling off the W for you on Monday night, the last game of the week with 17.6. I mean, look at the difference in points here. 9 points difference. That's a decent chunk to make up. And so you were down by, what was that? 8 points then going into the last game, down by 8 points. You expect Derrick Henry to get more than that. I mean, he's a pretty safe player, and he pulled it out. 17.6. Chris Carson. Wow. Chris Carson had a week. If I remember right, 2 of his touchdowns were receiving touchdowns. Let me double check that here real quick, because if I'm wrong, that would be awful. Let's see. Chris Carson. Yeah. His 2 touchdowns were both receiving touchdowns. Huge difference from last year. Man, he could be really special this year. John Brown. Looking good. Looking real good. Tyler Boyd, not looking good. So, hey, behind Derrick Henry and Chris Carson, your wide receivers, at least one of them hit. Travis Kelce did Travis Kelce things. He didn't boom, but he was safe. He got you to 14. That's 10 to 15. That's a minimum of what you expect from him. Marlon Mack, sorry, that's just an awful situation, man. Awful situation. At least he's not RB1 or 2 for you, but he's done. Done. So, hey, let's look at your bench here real quick. You got Garoppolo. Again, rostering 2 QBs. Maybe trade bait with Garoppolo because he did look good. He looks good. So, not trade bait. I mean, wrap him up in a trade and maybe get a running back or something to replace Marlon Mack. Or spend some of that fab. Pick up Hines. I don't know. We'll see how the waiver wires turn out. So we've also got Zach Moss. I know some people said he's a disappointment. Okay. 10.2. I wouldn't be that disappointed in that. And then Alan Lazard. Man, Green Bay cleaned up this week. Is that going to be every week for Alan? Who knows? He's worth stashing. Wait and see. Let's see how they do. Same, Amendola as well. See how he does. So, I think Kyle Rudolph's probably a pretty safe drop at this point. But, I don't know if you're holding on to him for a bye week, but it's going to be a while till he's got his bye week. So, yeah, guys, thank you for the entertainment this week. Both of you, thank you for the entertainment. I know only one person can win. Well, unless it's a tie. But generally, only one person can win. And, but this was an exciting one to watch. Both teams going forward, you both have some really, really good prospects going forward. So, both teams, let's see what you do. And now we have the 8-bit defenders versus Roy. Adam versus Steve. Both teams underperformed. We'll just go with that. So, definitely both well under the 106 average that was the average score for this week. So let's go through it. Let's find some bright spots here, right? Let's find some bright spots. So for Adam on the 8-bit defenders, let's start with him. We've got Ben Roethlisberger. Hey, okay. He looked pretty good. His elbow's working again. All right. There were some question marks with him. He really, really enjoyed finding Juju. That's for sure. Mark Ingram. Hey, Disappointment. Only carried the ball 10 times. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the expense or the price you pay for having a running QB. But Mark Ingram, 2.9. 10 times, 29 yards. That's awful. That's pretty awful. Against the Browns, too. That's pretty awful. However, you did have Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake did pretty good. 16 times. He carried it 16 times. Much better. Much better. Not the bell cow kind of situation you might want, but 13.5 for Kenyon Drake. Take it every week. Take it. AJ Green, I know you did not draft him for 7.6 points. That's rough. That's rough. Chris Godwin, 10.9. I'm not going to say. I mean, obviously with a score of 87, we'll just say 88. We'll round it up. We'll give you 0.04. Overall, your lineup is not going to have performed the way you want it. But the bright spot in your lineup was Big Ben. Big Ben with 22. I would say your kicker, but both kickers on each team, they both got 10 points. So definitely, that was not a bright spot for it. Well, okay, good, 10 points for a kicker, but that's not what made any difference this week. Let's take a look at your bench, though. Let's take a look at your bench. Darius Slayton. There's your little silver lining right there. Now, not going to get 28 points every week. But if New York, if the Giants cannot get their run game going with Saquon, they're going to have to throw it. And that offensive line could not protect Mr. Jones. All right? Boy, he did not. He looked scared out there. He's going to chuck it. Darius Slayton. He might make his way into your lineup. Especially after, James White. James White, I know there's concerns there. I know that, I skipped George Kittle. Hunter Henry outscored George Kittle. I'm sorry, Adam. Listen, make some moves, man. Make some moves. That's all you can do right now. All right, on to Roy, Steve. All right, Steve, he had Mahomes. And you're happy with the 20. Look, obviously you'll be happy with more. But, that's pretty much Mahomes' floor. He's going to get you that every week. So, even though Mahomes didn't go crazy for your starting lineup, he's your strong point, obviously. He's your strong point here. Montgomery and Singletary. Look, I said I was worried about your running backs at the draft recap. I think they proved me right. I don't see their situations improving much. Allen Robinson. Yeah. DJ Moore was pretty darn disappointing. He had a little bit of hype behind him. DJ Moore was disappointing here. Austin Hooper, I think everyone expected when he went to the Browns he wouldn't be the Austin Hooper in Atlanta. I thought maybe Baker would, under pressure, would throw to him a lot, but I don't know what happened there. Well, I know what happened there. The Browns happened there. The Browns did. Speaking of Browns, A.J. Brown. See that segue? Ooh, perfect. A.J. Brown, 6.4. Questions, needs across the board, man. Now, on your bench, hey, you had Matt Ryan, but again, even as good as Matt Ryan did, you're never going to play him over Patrick Mahomes. Never going to play him over Patrick Mahomes. Hey, find a team that needs a QB. Package him up. Try to get something. Try to get a piece. Try to get a little piece. Raheem Mostert. Hey, there you go. There's a bright spot. Raheem Mostert. Is it going to be his week every week? Who knows? But when David Montgomery and Devin Singletary are there, Raheem Mostert's looking okay. More than okay. And, not a lot of other things to really be excited about, Steve. Adam, Steve, both you guys, this is what waiver wires were made for. Find your need and spend the money. Spend those fab. Get it. Get the needs now. The earlier you get a player with fab money, the more they pay off. It's like stocks. The earlier you get in, the more potential they have to pay off for you. Same with Fab. All right, guys. All right, here we are, guys. We have arrived. The last matchup from the first week of our fantasy league, the North Coast Football League. We have Nero's Fiddle, John's team, versus Finn's, Matt's team. You can probably guess who Matt's favorite football team is. Now, obviously, both teams performed well, especially compared to the week average, which was 106. John had the number 2, Nero's Fiddle, the number 2 highest scoring team this week, behind yours truly. Just saying. But hey, nothing to be disappointed when you've got a score like that. But hey, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna look at the nitty gritty. Let's see the smaller picture within the big picture of 143. Right. We're gonna do the same thing for the Finns. Again, 114. That would have beat a lot of teams this week. It just happened. You went up against one of the high scorers. Everyone's been there. So let's go ahead and start with Nero's Fiddle. So we've got Deshaun Watson, 20 points. I didn't think Houston looked as bad as some people said. They went up against Kansas City. I mean, come on. So Deshaun Watson, okay, 20 points. That's about expected. Not disappointing at all, I don't think. Todd Gurley for Atlanta. Now I didn't see a lot of this game, but 12 points for Todd Gurley. A lot of questions coming in. Hey, there were certainly poorer performers who were drafted much higher price in our auction draft. So Todd Gurley with 12 points, and obviously since he's your number 2 behind Zeke, their offense goes through Zeke. Dallas can have a bad showing, very bad showing, and Zeke was still fantasy relevant. So I know you're not complaining, John. I know you're not complaining. And if you did, trade him to me. Thielen, I know I mentioned I was targeting Thielen this year. I really wanted him. And this is why. I think without Diggs there, who else are they going to? They got Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. Those guys are gonna get some points this year. 31 points for Adam Thielen. Way to go. And there's Stephon Diggs on his new team, 12 points. He'll probably complain his way to a couple more points as the season goes on. And it's always frustrating when you've got the wide receiver from the opposing quarterback. It's frustrating for the opposing quarterback. You're like, please don't throw that guy touchdowns. So Stephon Diggs didn't take too much away from Josh Allen over there on the Finns team there. Zach Ertz, the only trade that's gone through so far. I know this league doesn't trade much, but you acquired Zach Ertz through a trade, and what can you say? Ertz doesn't look like he's going to be that good going forward. Injury risk and everything. Goddard got all the work after Ertz was definitely not happy on the field there. I'm hoping it's nothing long lasting. I don't wish that on anybody, but we'll see. Ertz is going to be a concern. Even with 143 points, John, you got a concern. Kareem Hunt, hey, for your flex, Kareem Hunt did fine. He did fine. 10 points. Look, you watched the Browns game much closer than I did. You know how you feel about him overall. I don't have to tell you. Don't rely on me for that one. Okay, so here we go. So you're sticking with Devontae Freeman right now as of this recording. The rumor is he's picking between 4 different teams. So he's got options. We'll see where he lands. Keep him. Let's see what happens. Hey, Hyde, Pollard, obviously you're handcuffed. You're not, I wouldn't move any of these guys. Maybe Brian Edwards. I didn't watch the Raiders too closely. And obviously Edwards wasn't a big part of that. But your bench is good. It's good. Anthony Miller sitting there. You could sit pretty, man. You could sit pretty. All right, going on to Fins with Matt. Matt, we got a lot of silver lining here, man. We do. Josh Allen, whew, 31 points. Man, he really did something. That was against the Jets, and then he's got Miami this week. So I don't think he'll be moving. Sneaky suspicion there. Malcolm Brown. Who saw that coming? Wow. Yeah, you might have punched a lotto ticket on that one, man. Because the flip side of that is Fournette. There's your concern with running back. Leonard Fournette was not looking good at all. But see, then you go to Julio Jones. 23 points. Atlanta wide receiver. Hey, good. That's what you want from Julio. He'll have weeks with much less, but hey, take it this week, man. Take it this week. Even in a loss, take it. Tyler Lockett. Hey, good. Tyler Lockett. I like him a lot. 13 points. I think he definitely has room or weeks where he'll do much better. And then Darren Waller's fine. Darren Waller's still fine. Even with only 7.5, don't move on him. Keenan Allen, disappointing for Keenan Allen. He's a tough one to read over there. But again, I wouldn't move him. Sit him. And you might bench him, maybe, depending on the matchup. But don't drop him. Daniel Jones, oh man, boy, oh boy. At least he was on your bench. You picked the right QB this week. I don't know about Daniel Jones going forward. J.K. Dobbins looks like a thing. He looks like a thing. We'll see going forward what they do there in Baltimore at the running back position. We'll see. DeAndre Swift, Mecole Hardman. You could probably drop Mecole Hardman. Even if he has a week, you're not going to put him in. Are you? You're not going to put him in. Henry Ruggs, wait and see. And Preston Williams, I know you're a Miami fan. I'm not. I wouldn't mind getting rid of, but when you've got Mecole Hardman, you've got a definite drop candidate there. If you need to make moves, you could at least make one. Preston Smith might be the other one that you could lose to make a move with. Honestly, your starting lineup. Fournette, you could sit on him and wait and see, but nobody else in your starting lineup I would consider dropping or even with disappointment. So, yeah, maybe make some moves, but 114, that's a good start. So we'll see how things pan out. Anyways, all right, so that wraps it up for the actual matchups we have this week. And now I got some final thoughts. All right, here we are at the end. Let's Fantasy's back. Week 1 in the books. We're all on this roller coaster now. No turning back. We'll see what the rest of the season has in store. I will be doing these weekly breakdowns of all the matchups every single week. Hopefully I'll get them posted by Tuesday evening. That way, if you guys want to watch some stuff before the waiver wires hit, I'm trying not to do too much analysis, but I can't help it. I gotta throw some of it in there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And hey, listen, just like every other channel that I'm watching right now, we're on the march to 1 million. Let's see if we can get there.